Most gardeners waste April planting the same 4 or 5 things everybody else plants, and then act surprised when their summer garden looks average. Average harvest, average color, average excitement, average results. But there are 15 crops, some classic, some unusual, some that almost nobody thinks to start at the right time, that if you plant them now in April, can completely change what your garden looks like by July, August, and September. And I mean completely. More food, more color, more pollinators, more vertical growth, more variety, more moments where people stop in their tracks and ask, wait, what is that and the number 1 crop on this list? It is the one that makes neighbors' stair kids beg to go outside and gardeners kick themselves every single year for starting too late or planting it wrong. We are covering all 15 today. The right zones, the right timing, the right methods, and the little insider moves most gardening channels skip right past. Stay with me, because every single one of these matters, and you do not want to miss number 1. If you have been looking for a sign to get serious about your garden this spring, this is it. Hit that subscribe button, because every day we are putting out content to help you grow more food, more beauty, and more confidence in your garden. No fluff, no filler. Let's get into it. Number 15. Parsley, the basic herb. Most people grow completely wrong. Let's start with one almost everybody underestimates. Parsley. And the reason it belongs on this list is exactly because most gardeners think it is simple, and then grow it badly. Parsley is famously slow to germinate. We are talking 2 to 4 weeks in many cases, which is long enough for impatient gardeners to assume it failed, let the soil dry out and give up on it before it ever had a chance. But one tiny step changes everything. Soak the seeds in warm water for 24 hours before sowing. That alone can nearly cut your germination time in half. For zones 4 through 9, April is one of the best times to start parsley. Sow it into trays, shallow containers, or directly where you want it if conditions are mild. Cover lightly and keep it evenly moist. Not soggy, not dry, consistent. Flat leaf Italian parsley is the one you want if you cook. Better flavor, better texture, better versatility, and honestly, it looks fantastic in the garden too. And here is the bonus most people do not know. Parsley is a host plant for swallowtail butterfly caterpillars. So if you see little caterpillars munching your parsley, that is not a problem. That is the garden doing something magical. Parsley is not just an herb. It is food, beauty, and butterfly habitat disguised as something people call basic. Number 14. Cosmos, the cut flower machine that gets better the harder you pinch it. If you are building a cutting garden, Cosmos are not optional. They are one of the easiest, most rewarding, highest return flowers you can direct sow in April, and once they get going, they just do not stop. They bloom and bloom and bloom from midsummer all the way into frost, throwing out armfuls of flowers with almost insulting ease. In zones 5 through 9, direct sow Cosmos in April. In zones 4 and colder, start them indoors about 4 weeks before your last frost. And here is the move that changes the entire plant. Pinch it. When your Cosmos hits about 12 inches tall, pinch out the growing tip. That one move forces branching, and instead of one tall, lanky stem, you get a much fuller plant with 3 or 4 times the flowering stems. That is the difference between a decent Cosmos planting and an absolute explosion. Sensation Mix, Cupcake Blush, and Xanthos are all standout performers. Cosmos belong in cottage gardens, cut flower gardens, pollinator gardens, and honestly almost any space where you want something cheerful and easy that just keeps paying you back. Some plants are rewarding, Cosmos are ridiculous. Number 13. Cypress Vine, the vertical pollinator magnet. Most people don't start early enough. Now let's go vertical. Because one of the fastest ways to make a garden look richer, fuller, and more intentional is to use height well. And cypress vine does that in a way very few annuals can. Feathery foliage, tiny star-shaped flowers, fast climbing growth. And hummingbirds absolutely lose their minds over it. If you have a fence trellis arbor gate or ugly vertical space you want covered fast, this plant earns its keep. April matters because cypress vine needs a head start. In zones 4 through 6, start it indoors, now ideally with bottom heat from a heat mat. In zones 7 through 11, direct sow once nighttime temperatures are reliably above 50 degrees. Once it starts climbing, it climbs with purpose. This is not a shy vine. It fills. It softens hard edges. It adds motion and life. And when it flowers, the whole structure comes alive. Most people treat vertical garden space like an afterthought. Cypress vine is what happens when you stop doing that. Number 12. Basil, the summer herb that only gets better if you keep cutting it. If you grow tomatoes, you need basil. There is no serious summer garden without it. Basil is one of those crops that works in the garden, in the kitchen, and in content, because everybody wants it, everybody uses it, and most people do not realize how productive it can be if you handle it correctly. In zones 4 through 7, start basil indoors, 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost. In zones 8 through 11, direct sow once soil temperatures hit about 60 degrees. And the one word that matters most with basil is pinch. Every time you see the plant trying to send up a flower stem, remove it immediately. The second basil starts focusing on flowering and seed production, the flavor drops, and the plant starts slowing down. Pinch it back, and it just keeps pushing fresh, tender growth. Genovese is the classic. Thai basil is unbeatable in summer cooking. Lemon basil is one of those herbs people taste once and suddenly want to grow forever. Basil is not hard, but it rewards attention. And once you realize how much one healthy basil plant can give you over a season, you stop treating it like a grocery store herb and start treating it like a summer essential. Number 11. Bush beans, the low-effort crop that feeds you for weeks if you do one thing right. If you want an easy win in April, here it is: bush beans. No trellis, no staking, no elaborate setup, no nonsense. Just one of the easiest, highest yield direct sow crops you can put in the ground. Sow seeds about an inch deep, roughly 6 inches apart, with rows about a foot apart. They germinate fast, grow fast, and can be ready in as little as 50 to 60 days. But here is the move that changes everything succession sowing. Most people plant one row, get one giant wave of beans, then wonder why the harvest vanishes 2 weeks later. Do this instead: plant one row now, another in 2 weeks, another 2 weeks after that. Now you have a rolling harvest that can carry you through most of summer instead of one single glut. Blue Lake 274 is a classic heavy producer. Provider is one of the best options if your spring weather is cool and unpredictable. Bush beans are one of the best examples of how simple garden logic beats complicated garden advice. Plant them on time. Plant them again. Keep picking. That is the system. Number 10. Cucumbers, the fast climber that gets better. The moment you grow it upward. Cucumbers are one of the great April crops because they move fast, produce hard, and reward even small space gardeners if they are willing to go vertical. And if you are still letting cucumbers sprawl flat across the ground, you are making life harder than it needs to be. Grow them on a trellis. It saves space, improves airflow, reduces disease pressure, keeps fruit cleaner, and makes harvesting dramatically easier. In zones 5 through 9, direct sow cucumbers in April, once soil temperatures hit about 60 degrees. Now choose your type wisely. Tasty Green is an outstanding Japanese-style slicer, long, elegant, productive, and almost burpless. Spacemaster 80 was bred for containers and small spaces, and if you garden on a patio or balcony, this one is a gift. Armenian cucumber is the heat-tolerant powerhouse. Technically a melon eaten like a cucumber, and one of the smartest picks if your summers get brutal. Cucumbers are one of those plants where a small infrastructure change, one simple trellis, can completely completely change your results. Same seed, different system, way better harvest. Number 9. Zucchini and summer squash. The plant that will outproduce almost everything else if you give it one good start. Here is the truth about zucchini. One healthy plant can make you feel wildly over-prepared for summer. That is how productive it is. But to really get the most out of it, you want to plant it right. Dig a hole. Fill it with compost. Mound it slightly. Then sow or transplant into that mound. That gives the roots immediate access to rich fertility while also improving drainage. Zones 4 through 10 can direct sow after last frost in April or as soon as conditions line up. And here is another thing people miss. Zucchini is not just one crop at one stage. Baby squash at 4 to 6 inches are tender and sweet. Medium squash are perfect for everyday cooking. Oversized squash can be hollowed out, stuffed and baked. And the flowers, stuff them and fry them, and suddenly this plant feels a lot more luxurious than people give it credit for. Romanesco Emerald Delight and Max's Gold all keep the harvest interesting. Zucchini is one of the great payoff crops of the home garden because it teaches you very quickly what abundance actually looks like. Number 8. Okra, the heat-loving summer machine that really starts to shine when everything else struggles. When the real heat hits, okra does not just survive, it thrives. This is one of the most productive, warm-season vegetables you can grow, and once summer settles in, okra can become one of the hardest-working plants in the garden. It belongs in the same family as hibiscus and roselle, and once you know that, a lot about it starts making sense. The heat tolerance, the flower shape, the growth habit, the confidence. In zones 7 through 11, direct sow, once soil temperatures are sitting around 65 to 70 degrees. In zones 5 and 6, start indoors 3 to 4 weeks before last frost, but transplant carefully because okra does not appreciate root disturbance. If you have ever had skin irritation harvesting okra, go with Clemson Spineless. That variety solves a problem a lot of gardeners do not realize can be solved. And here is the rule that matters once okra starts producing pick every day. Leave pods on too long and they get woody fast. Okra is one of those crops that teaches timing. Show up, check often, harvest young, and in return it just keeps going. Number 7. Roselle, the garden showstopper that turns into tea jam, and something your neighbors have definitely never grown. Now we get into the crops that make your garden stand out. Roselle is one of the most exciting plants you can grow if you want something edible, beautiful, and just unusual enough to make people stop and ask questions. It is in the hibiscus family, and once it gets going, it looks incredible in the garden. But the real prize is the calyx, the fleshy red structure that forms after the flower drops. That is the part you harvest. It tastes like hibiscus crossed with cranberry, and you can turn it into teas, jams, syrups, sauces, and drinks that feel way more special than anything most home gardens are producing. In zones 8 through 11, direct sow roselle in April, once the soil reaches about 65 degrees. In zones 5 through 7, start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before last frost, because this plant wants warmth and a long season. Roselle is one of those crops that checks every box: ornamental, edible, productive, conversation starting, and genuinely fun. It does not just fill a bed. It changes the character of the whole garden. Number 6. Pumpkin, the fall payoff crop that you have to respect in spring. Pumpkins are one of the biggest mistakes gardeners make in timing. People think fall crop, so they wait too long. And then they are shocked when the fruit never fully sizes, never colors properly, or matures too late. Pumpkins need time. depending on the variety, anywhere from 90 to 120 days. That means April is exactly when you want to be thinking about them. Plant 3 seeds per mound, about an inch deep, then thin to the strongest plants once they emerge. And here is a small move that is not small at all. Nick the edge of the seed coat with a nail file before planting. That tiny scarification step speeds up moisture penetration and can dramatically improve germination speed. If your goal is one giant pumpkin, remove all but one fruit from the vine and let the plant put its full energy into that single pumpkin. Atlantic Giant is the obvious pick for size. Sugar Pie is the classic eating pumpkin. Pumpkins are not just productive, they are theatrical. They make people feel the season changing long before the weather fully does. And if you want that fall payoff, the work starts now. Number 5. Peanuts, the underground protein crop. Most people still cannot believe you can grow at home. Peanuts are one of the coolest things you can grow in a home garden, simply because so many people do not understand how they grow. They are not tree nuts, they are legumes. And after the flower is pollinated, the plant sends a peg down into the soil where the peanut develops underground. Watching that happen feels almost unbelievable the first time you see it. April is the window. Direct sow peanuts after last frost in zones 6 through 11. They want full sun, well-drained soil, and a warm season long enough to let them finish. If you garden in a shorter season, go with a northern hardy Valencia type bred for that challenge. Plant shelled raw peanuts about 2 inches deep and 6 to 8 inches apart. And here is what makes peanuts even better. They are nitrogen-fixing legumes. So while they are growing a protein-rich crop for you underground, they are also improving your soil. That is not just productive, that is efficient. Peanuts are one of the ultimate weight you can grow that crops, and that alone makes them worth a place in an April garden plan. Number 4. Corn, the crop that humbles people for one completely avoidable reason. Corn looks simple, and that is exactly why it fools people, because so many gardeners plant it in one long row, assume that is enough, and then end up with pathetic ears full of missing kernels. Here is why corn is wind-pollinated. It does not rely on insects moving pollen from flower to flower. It relies on pollen dropping from tassels onto silks efficiently across neighboring plants. That means one long row is a bad system. You need blocks. At minimum, think 4 rows by 4 rows with plants spaced about 6 to 12 inches apart, 1 to 2 seeds per hole. Do that and pollination improves dramatically. Skip it and you are setting yourself up for disappointment. In zones 5 through 9, direct sow after last frost in April. Honey Select and Peaches and Cream are strong, sweet corn options. Robust yellow hullus is excellent if you want popcorn. Glass Gem is one of the most visually stunning choices you can grow if you want ornamental flint corn that makes people do a double take. Corn is a crop that rewards understanding. It does not need more effort. It needs the right layout. And once you give it that, it goes from frustrating to fantastic. Number 3. Sweet potato. The crop most people start wrong from the very first step. Most gardeners plant sweet potatoes wrong before they even begin. They plant the whole potato. Do not do that. What you want are slips, rooted shoots grown from a sprouting sweet potato. And April is the time to start that process. Set a sweet potato halfway into moist potting mix on a heat mat in a warm, bright place. In 2 to 3 weeks, green shoots start rising. Once those shoots reach 4 to 6 inches, twist them off, root them in water, and in a few days, you have slips. Those slips are what you transplant after last frost, once soil is reliably above 60 degrees. And once sweet potatoes get established, they are almost unfair. The vines sprawl beautifully, covering ground and suppressing weeds. Underground, the harvest builds quietly all season. You eat the roots, and in many traditions, you can eat the leaves too. This is one of the smartest long-season crops you can grow because it gives you beauty up top and serious food value below. Sweet potatoes are not flashy in early summer. They are strategic. and by fall they pay you back all at once. Number 2. Tomatoes. The crop that turns people into gardeners. There is no real April planting list without tomatoes. This is the crop that hooks people, the one that makes gardeners out of non-gardeners, the one that convinces someone after a single summer that they can never go back to grocery store tomatoes again. For zones 5 through 9, start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before last frost, or buy strong nursery starts in April. In hotter zones, focus on heat-tolerant varieties and get serious about timing before summer stress peaks. Now choose your type with purpose. Cherokee purple for flavor, so deep and complex, people talk about it like wine. San Marzano for sauce, sun gold for sweet, addictive snacking straight off the vine. And before you transplant, do not skip the step that separates good tomato gardeners from frustrated ones. Harden them off. Move them outside for a few hours each day for about a week before planting them out permanently. Skip this, and you shock the plant, lose precious time, and set your whole season back. Then plant them deep up to 2/3 of the stem underground. Tomatoes root along buried stems, and that gives you a bigger, stronger, tougher plant. Tomatoes are not just productive, they are emotional. They are the crop people wait for all year, and if you do them right, they repay obsession with abundance. Number 1. Watermelon. The crop that makes every hour in the garden feel worth it, and here it is. The number 1 crop on this list. The one that makes neighbors stare. The one kids beg to go check on. The one that when you finally cut it open outside on a hot afternoon in August, and the juice runs down your hands, makes every bit of work feel justified. Watermelon. Growing your own watermelon is one of the most satisfying things a home gardener can do, but people miss 2 things. They start too late, or they plant it badly. Here is the right move. Plant in a compost-amended mound with a slight depression in the center, almost like a little volcano crater. That catches water exactly where the roots need it instead of letting it run off. Early on, feed for vine growth with nitrogen. Once flowering, start switch toward phosphorus and potassium to push fruit development. Keep moisture consistent. That part matters more than most people realize. Irregular watering leads to split fruit, poor texture, and blossom end issues. Choose your variety based on space and personality. Sugar Baby is fantastic if you need something compact and manageable with smaller melons, perfect for home gardens. Charleston Gray is the classic big, sweet showstopper. Mountain Sweet Yellow gives you golden flesh and the kind of surprise factor that makes everyone stop after the first bite. Zones 5 through 10 can direct sow in April or start indoors 2 to 3 weeks before last frost. And full sun is absolutely non-negotiable. 8 hours minimum. More is better. Watermelon wants heat, light, space, and confidence. And when you give it those things, it gives you one of the best experiences in the whole garden. Because watermelon is not just a crop. It is a moment. It is summer made edible. It is the reason a lot of people start gardening in the first place. And once you grow one really good watermelon, you understand exactly why you will never stop. So there you have it. 15 crops that can make April the most productive planting month of your entire year. Parsley feeding butterflies and your kitchen. Cosmos filling your cutting garden with armfuls of blooms. Cypress vine climbing and bringing hummingbirds with it. Basil turning every summer meal into something better. Bush beans feeding you again and again. Cucumbers climbing vertically instead of sprawling. Zucchini producing like it has something to prove. Okra taking over when the heat arrives. Roselle turning into the most beautiful tea you have ever made. Pumpkins quietly building toward fall. Peanuts fixing nitrogen while growing you protein underground. Corn standing tall if you plant it the right way. Sweet potatoes storing energy all summer for a big fall payoff. Tomatoes doing what tomatoes do, turning people into believers. And watermelon. The crop you plant once, harvest once, and then think about all winter long. Your garden can be incredible this year, not because of luck, because of timing, because of crop choice, Because of starting the right things at the right moment with the right method. That is what separates an average garden from one that people remember. If you got value from this, subscribe, because we are just getting started this season. And drop a comment below, which crop on this list are you most excited to grow? I read every single one. Now go plant something.